Congress has warned us. Our taxes are going to go up. We don't know exactly when, but it will be soon. We have a small window of time to deal with these issues. If you own a small business, a ranch, a farm, or even own stocks that have appreciated in value, you need to know what the solutions to these issues are. Be prepared. The only thing you could possibly do wrong is to do nothing. You need to know what these issues are and the solutions. Once again, I can't warn you enough. You need to be aware. Stay tuned to find out how to win the tax wars.
You have been warned. Big government plans to spend a lot more of your money. Income taxes, death taxes, capital gains taxes, and corporate taxes are coming at you like a speeding freight train. So if you own a business, a real estate investment venture, a farm or ranch property, we urge you, act now. Do not be a victim. Stay tuned for Tax Wars How to Win with Larry Henderson of Allied Wealth. Larry is a nationally certified financial strategist who serves Pueblo and Colorado Springs. If you cannot stay tuned for the next few minutes, call 719-545-2020 to reserve a seat in a local classroom that can save your bacon. Use promo code TAXES2022 and you can attend the class free. The next few minutes of this program will open your eyes to the urgency of planning to win rather than suffering the agony of acting too late. Again, we urge business owners, real estate investors, farm or ranch people to stay tuned and pay close attention. And now, here's Larry Henderson.
Welcome to Tax Wars. I'm Larry Henderson. I'm here today with financial specialist Chris Hruby. We're here to show you how to win these tax wars. Recently, Congress has been working on changing our tax laws. Most people don't realize that these tax laws will affect us dramatically. Okay, there's been from executive orders to what Congress dealt with last year. I don't know if you saw it on the news or not, but a lot of these changes have dramatically changed how we'll look at taxes in the future, especially if you own real estate, you own a small business, a farm or a ranch, or even stocks in the stock market. Okay, so we have Chris here today to tell us a little bit about some of these tax laws. So Chris, let's talk about the executive orders that went through. Can you tell me a little bit about those and how they're going to change this?
Yeah, Larry. So when we're talking about the executive orders that were kind of going through last year and the previous year, what we were really looking at was a few key ones, okay? And in those executive orders, the first thing that was going to change was income tax. So if you noticed, maybe back in 2018, taxes changed, okay? The executive order was to kind of replace that bill and get into new taxes. Those taxes are not going to be for your benefit, obviously. We have some issues that we have to pay for now, and because of that, our taxes are going to go up. So income tax was going to change a little bit. And what they were projecting is the highest tax right now is 37%. They want to change that to 70 or 80%.
Wow, that's amazing.
So a big change. Another key factor that really affects anybody in real estate, a farmer or rancher, or even a business owner is step up in basis, okay? So essentially, step up in basis is when say somebody's passing on an asset to the next generation. Okay, they get a step up in cost basis on that so that it's not taxed for the next person that inherits it. All right. The executive order, though, is to get rid of that, which is causing a huge tax dilemma for a lot of people.
Okay, so an example of step up in basis for like a farm might be in the past, your farm, if you inherit it from your father, you would pay no taxes because of the step up in basis rule. If that changes, well, for example, a $2 million farm passes to your son or daughter, there would be no taxes on that. If the step up in basis goes away, they may owe capital gains taxes on that money. So a $2 million farm could be taxed at today's rates might be $300,000. That's a huge difference. But if capital gains change, you could also be taxed at a $2 million farm could be taxed at $1 million. So you can see the issue with these tax changes. And people ask us, why are these changes happening? Well, it's pretty easy. If you've noticed the spending, the government had a national debt of $5.3 trillion in 2000. Today, Chris, what is that number today?
Yeah, it's upwards of 31 trillion.
$31 trillion. So it's gone up 6 times.
Right.
How does the government pay debt?
They go to you, right? You're their
Right.
job. So paying taxes pays off the debt.
Okay, another thing that we've heard about is taxing unrealized capital gains. What are unrealized capital gains?
Yeah, so unrealized capital gains. An easy way to explain this is if you have an asset, okay, and let's say that asset's worth $100,000. In 1 year, if that asset increases to $200,000, all right, or you have a $100,000 gain on there, all right, and that's a good thing. That's what you want. The issue with that is if you don't sell that asset currently, you don't have to pay taxes on that gain yet, which is a good thing. But unrealized capital gains is saying that if you have that asset and it goes up to that $200,000, that $100,000 profit, you're going to owe taxes on that, even if you don't sell it.
Okay, so you're paying taxes on gains you haven't made yet.
Right. And so the issue is if you're taxed at capital gains, all right, on this asset, and you sell it or you don't sell it, doesn't matter because you're still going to have to pay those taxes. But usually if you don't sell the asset, how do you have that money to pay those taxes?
Exactly. So what we're talking about here is these dramatic changes in taxes that we've been told by Congress that they're going to come through with are going to dramatically change how we do business and how we plan around estate planning, how to sell a business, to see actually if you made a profit. A lot of people's retirement is based on selling their assets, their real estate, their businesses, or if you're a farmer rancher, you're passing it on to the next generation. If you do not realize how these are going to affect you, you're in for a big surprise. So, Chris, a lot of these laws have not been passed yet. So where are we at with some of that?
Yeah, so really when you're looking at it, you can tell by the media and everything that you're hearing, we're in a kind of an election period right now. So these laws that they're talking about passing, congressmen like to get reelected.
Right.
So we're looking at a time frame of about a half a year now because they're going to start changing these in the coming up year, 2023. They're going to start working on these bills again and trying to pass them. Last year was a close one, but nobody could agree on it. So we're looking at maybe having about a half a year to kind of get going on looking at what to do with the tax situation.
So over the years, we've been taught to defer taxes, to just follow the rules. Well, you can follow the rules and plan around a lot of this. A lot of it involves not deferring taxes, paying them when they're lower today. And what we found is every person that we talk to has a different situation, so the solutions are different. So for the rest of the show, we're going to give examples of things in real estate, for farmers and ranchers, small businesses, even stocks, that there are a lot of tax laws that allow you to resolve these issues. So we're going to get on to those later in the show, and hopefully you'll stick around and we can talk to you about those.
Larry and his team will return shortly, but here's how you can be a winner in the tax war. Call 719-545-2020 to sign up for one of our classes in Pueblo in Colorado Springs. We have 4 classrooms that are filling rapidly. Each session is 2 hours long and will teach you what you need to know to avoid being hit by the taxation freight train. What you don't know can result in a lifetime of regret. Our solutions are complex, and one size does not fit all. Larry and his team of experts will guide you to the best tax strategy for you. When you sign up for the class, we will email you critical information about how government giveaways today are pulling money from your pocket tomorrow. Once again, call 719-545-2020 to sign up for one of these 4 classes. Remember, when you sign up, we will email you details you won't get from any other source. The class costs $200, but use promo code TAXES2022 and you will attend the class absolutely free. And we urge you to call the number now, 719-545-2020. The call is local. That's 719-545-2020. And now we return you to Tax Wars How to Win with Larry Henderson.
Welcome back to Tax Wars. This next part, we're going to talk a little bit about how these new tax laws will affect real estate investors. So most of us, not just with real estate, but with saving and retirement, have been taught to defer taxes. That's been a great strategy in the past, but in the future, it may not be. So we're going to talk about some of the things in real estate. So one of the things that most people in real estate like to do is do a tax deferral or a 1031 exchange. Chris, can you tell me how a 1031 works?
Yes. So when you look at a 1031 exchange, all right, all it's doing is if you sell a piece of property, in order not to pay taxes or any taxes on those gains that you may have made off that property, what you're going to do is you're going to put those funds back into another piece of property. The issue is your basis stays the same, meaning it stays the same from the last property. So no matter how great your gains are on the next piece of property or whatever, you owe all those taxes from the last sale. You're deferring it down the line, essentially.
Kicking the can down the road.
Yep.
So a good example of this is if I made $1 million profit on a property. Today I'm paying 15% capital gains. I'd pay $150,000 taxes on that. I can choose to do a 1031 exchange, which says I can defer that into the next property, not pay the taxes now, but pay when I sell the next property, which is what a lot of people have done. The issue is if taxes are going to go from 15 to maybe 50%, you can see the problem there. It's huge. We talked about that a little bit earlier. So the new strategy for certain people may be to go ahead and pay the $150,000 now and not defer the taxes. There are also other strategies that allow us to completely get rid of those taxes. Okay, so the next thing with the 1031 exchange is current tax law tells us that we can do a step up in basis. So if you keep deferring the taxes and then when you die, you pass that on to your relatives, you get step up in basis, which totally eliminates those taxes, which has been a great strategy in the past. But going forward, instead of getting rid of the taxes, like we said, you could end up paying 50%. So how are people handling this, Chris, or the clients that you're talking to now?
Yeah, so they're doing different things. They're being proactive on it. And I think what we're seeing is more people not figuring out that a 1031 is really not the answer, okay? Right. It's really pushing that problem down, and maybe that's down to the next generation. But what we're seeing with Congress is they knew where the money was. They see where it is. Real estate is a huge value, and I think anybody in real estate understands how much money is in it. The issue is understanding how you can get that money and be a better steward over taking all that's yours. You know, you're not taking the government completely out maybe, but you're paying the most efficient level of taxes.
Right. So here's the situation today. Real estate is way up. People have made huge gains in equity on their properties. A lot of them would like to take those gains and take that cash now. If you try to 1031 into another property, you're just kicking the can down the road to possibly pay higher taxes. But if you want to cash out, none of that works for you, so you have to pay higher taxes today. The good news is there are strategies, and everybody's strategy is different. And that's one of the reasons we have some of the classes that we have, that we get into this in more depth of how to do that. We've had clients that have had $3 or $4 million worth of property that they've sold, that they've cashed out on, and had to pay minimal taxes. So there are tax laws that will help you. You just might not be using the standard ones like a 1031 or any of those. And the other issue we talked about was unrealized capital gains. I think it would be crazy if Congress did that, but they're talking about making you pay taxes on gains that you haven't even got paid for yet. That's the scary part of this. So that's why we keep telling people you need to come to our classes so we can show you the solutions for all these problems. There's a lot of real estate out there. Real estate is a great investment. It's just when you capitalize on that, you don't want to end up giving all that money to the government or to attorneys. And a lot of us would like to pass that money on to our families, but if we give most of it to the government, obviously our families get even less. So Chris, do you have any examples of things that you've done for clients with real estate?
Yeah, so it's really looking at each client's different, but even if you have a client that comes in and it really, the main thing is understanding what they want to do with that asset. Are they looking for income from there? You know, real estate has a lot to do with income. Are they looking at passing on to the next generation? A lot of those different possibilities kind of describe where you're going to be with what you want to do with that asset. But it's honestly, it's quite simple math. If you can pay, 15% now on your gains from that asset, you would like that a heck of a lot more than paying 40 or 50% down the road.
Okay. So one of the things I'm hearing and we want to get across today is these tax changes are creating huge issues down the road. But if you are proactive and start on a lot of that now, then there's solutions to all of it. Now, one of the questions I get, well, Congress is working on this. How long do we have? Honestly, I thought a lot of these changes would have happened last year. Congress got into a huge debate, never got anything accomplished. This year, because it's an election year, I don't see a lot of changes, but we may see some of these changes as early as January 1st. So time is of the essence. It's important that you don't say, gee, I need to deal with that someday. It's important. At the end of the show today and during some of our breaks, we have some information where you can sign up for classes to come so we can get into the details of how to resolve these issues.
Larry and his team will return shortly. But here's how you can be a winner in the tax war. Call 719-545-2020 to sign up for one of our classes in Pueblo in Colorado Springs. We have 4 classrooms that are filling rapidly. Each session is 2 hours long and will teach you what you need to know to avoid being hit by the taxation freight train. What you don't know can result in a lifetime of regret. Our solutions are complex, and one size does not fit all. Larry and his team of experts will guide you to the best tax strategy for you. When you sign up for the class, we will email you critical information about how government giveaways today are pulling money from your pocket tomorrow. Once again, call 719-545-2020 to sign up for one of these 4 classes. Remember, when you sign up, we will email you details you won't get from any other source. The class costs $200, but use promo code TAXES2022 and you will attend the class absolutely free. And we urge you to call the number now, 719-545-2020. The call is local. That's 719-545-2020. And now we return you to Tax Wars How to Win with Larry Henderson.
Welcome back to Tax Wars. I'm Larry here with Chris again, and we're going to talk about what I think is one of the biggest disasters with these changes in tax laws. And that's for anybody that owns a large piece of property. We talked about real estate, but also if you own a farm or a ranch. So typically what happens over the last 200 years is if you own a farm or a ranch, your children or whoever your heirs are will inherit that property and there's no taxes on that. That goes back to the step up in basis that we talked about. The changes in the tax laws could dramatically affect that. We talked about before that if you owned a $3 million ranch and in today's tax rates, that would pass to your family with no taxes. if they do away with step up in basis, you could end up paying at today's rates about $450,000 in taxes. Most ranchers and farmers are land rich and cash poor. So where do they get the $450,000, Chris?
Well, that's a good question, right?
Right,
And there's no real answer to that. They have to sell the property.
right. So, so they could sell the property, they could put a lien on the property, and most farms and ranches, economically, if they have a mortgage on the farm, they can't make it. So that one little change would be dramatic, but if capital gains go up from, say, 15 up to 50, now you have a $3 million ranch or farm that they have to pay $1.5 million in taxes. What would happen if we don't plan around this is the family farm or the family ranch will go away probably in 2 generations. Okay? Now, a lot of people say, well, geez, we just need to figure something out for our kids to do. The reality is there are all kinds of tax laws and strategies that we can use to totally eliminate these taxes and plan around this. You can't wait until something happens to do that. It's something that needs to be done right away, especially with current tax laws this year. That window of opportunity is pretty small for us now. So if you come to one of our classes, we can go through some of the solutions for this. It may involve, there's all kinds of strategies that people try. They're taking their name off the ranch. That creates other issues. They say, well, we'll create a trust. Well, a trust may be good for some people, but there's also probably 40 different types of trusts. Which one works for you, which one works for your family, and which one will exempt you from future tax changes is huge. Okay, so Chris, what are most of your clients, what are they doing today?
All right. So anybody that owns a farm or ranch, it depends. And I think really the big question on what they're going to do really depends on kind of, like you said, their overall plan. But you can do many things. A lot of trusts are set up, and putting something in a trust does some benefits. But also we work with endowments too. And a lot of those endowments work in a lot of different ways, but an endowment is made to pass on to the next generation. So it's using laws that are already in there to benefit.
So one of the things I've seen is, besides tax law, we have contract law. And a lot of tax law allows you to use contract law. So you can set up certain things, and we talked about trusts, but once again, there's several different types of trusts, and a lot of those are designed to protect future generations. There's generation skipping trust, there's charitable remainder trust, there's family trust, there's a lot of different trusts. What's important is that you understand which one, whether it's a trust or an endowment, or maybe you just create something to help your children pay those taxes. But there's all kinds of strategies. The only thing you can do wrong today is do nothing, okay? That's what we get from a lot of people. They say, I don't understand it. I'm too busy. I just don't have time to deal with it. Or I'm so confused, I'm just going to do nothing. Once again, the only thing you can do wrong is do nothing. That's why we have these classes, so you can come in, we can talk about all the individual strategies and how those may or may not fit into your situation, so that we can give you a solution so you can win those tax wars.
Larry and his team will return shortly. But here's how you can be a winner in the tax war. Call 719-545-2020 to sign up for one of our classes in Pueblo in Colorado Springs. We have 4 classrooms that are filling rapidly. Each session is 2 hours long and will teach you what you need to know to avoid being hit by the taxation freight train. What you don't know can result in a lifetime of regret. Our solutions are complex, and one size does not fit all. Larry and his team of experts will guide you to the best tax strategy for you. When you sign up for the class, we will email you critical information about how government giveaways today are pulling money from your pocket tomorrow. Once again, call 719-545-2020 to sign up for one of these 4 classes. Remember, when you sign up, we will email you details you won't get from any other source. The class costs $200, but use promo code TAXES2022 and you will attend the class absolutely free. And we urge you to call the number now, 719-545-2020. The call is local. That's 719-545-2020. And now we return you to Tax Wars How to Win with Larry Henderson.
Welcome back to Tax Wars. Once again, we're here today to show you how to win those tax wars. What we've done today so far is we've identified the issues that could be caused by some of these tax changes. Some of these changes are in Congress right now. They haven't happened. We don't know exact numbers yet, but we have been working on the solutions. A lot of these solutions have been around for years. They're nothing new. They're all tax laws and corporate laws and contract laws that we can use to resolve these issues. The only thing, like we said earlier, that you can do wrong is do nothing. We have a pretty short window here of time where we can resolve these issues while the taxes are still low. Some of them can be resolved afterwards, but we think it's important that you come to the class. It's 2 hours long. Most of the classes are in the evening. It's totally educational so that we can get into the weeds on what's going on with these tax laws and how specifically they may affect you. I guarantee you, everybody's different. Your issues and your solutions are different. The only way to deal with it is jump right in there, learn as much as you can so you can start making decisions on what you should do, where you should do it, and how. And the key thing is, with all these tax laws, there are solutions. We had a client in the other day that we had 7 different options for them to resolve their tax issues. There's, like I said, once again, there's a lot of ways, but we can't help you if you don't come to the class. Thank you.
The preceding information does not represent tax, legal, or investment advice. Fees may apply. Rates and returns mentioned on this program may vary based on state availability and are subject to change without notice. Guarantees are based on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the financial institution. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified and licensed professional. It is important that you read all insurance contract disclosures carefully before making a purchase decision. Obviously, by calling us now, you are taking the first step toward protecting your assets. Call 719-545-2020. Use the promo code to get in free, and we'll see you in class.